Hello. Sort myself out. Marvellous. Good morning. Hello again to those people who've just watched my 5-day challenge live. I just want to pop on and say a little few words about puppy teething and biting. Spoiler alert, puppies bite. Morning, Nikki. Hello, lovely. So a little bit of kind of the science behind it really, and why it happens, and why we get so fed up of them. Basically what happens is puppies obviously need to explore the world through their mouths, and until we bring them home they've had 6, 7, 8 more weeks of rolling around with siblings and mum probably, and the way they investigate each other and the way they play obviously is that mouth wrestling, and you know, they get things in their mouth and they want to play, and then suddenly we bring them away from their siblings and that's all got to stop. It's really confusing for a little dog because it's, you know, it's a weird time, things are happening. But if we look at their development, when they're born, obviously they don't have any teeth erupted. However, all of their teeth, just like a human baby, are sitting up in their jawbones. So if you were to x-ray a puppy or a human baby, you would find all of their teeth, it's a bit weird, are there. All the adult teeth and all the baby teeth are in there, already grown. You're born with them all. It's a bit freaky, isn't it? At 2 to 3 weeks, usually with a puppy, the incisors, little front teeth, start to come through. Obviously, mums are going to get a bit twitchy about that then when they're feeding, because that's probably going to start to get a bit sore, isn't it? So 2 to 3 weeks, their incisors are coming through, those little teeth in the front of their mouth, and top and bottom, they're all coming through. By week 4, their canines, those really sharp ones that do this damage to your skin when they dig in you, they're the ones that are coming through at about week 4. Between weeks 3 and 6, their premolars and their back teeth, their molars start to erupt, and by 6 to 8 weeks, their baby teeth, all their molars are erupted. Now 6 to 8 weeks. That's the second time I've said 6 to 8 weeks today, because 6 to 8 weeks is usually the time when people bring puppies home as well. So they're having all this going on, they're teething. Now if you've got children, you remember what it's like when they're teething and how sore it is for them and what you have to do in terms of trying to soothe it. It's not very nice, is it? You know, babies get runny bums and they get sore faces, and they, you know, their faces go red and their gums are all hot. And it's pretty much the same for puppies too. These things are all happening. And most people seem to say that there are certain times when puppies biting is worse than others. And usually what happens is from that 6 to 8 weeks when their molars are through, then they continue to grow their teeth, and their baby teeth will drop out and their permanent teeth will start to erupt. So that's, you know, they've got two lots of that going on. It's not very good, is it? And that's going to happen really by the time a puppy is 6 or 7 months old. All of their adult teeth will come through, and they have 42 adult teeth. Your baby, or you, has 32 adult teeth, and they've usually come through by the time you're about 11 or 12 years old. So it's a much more prolonged thing for humans than it is for puppies. Puppies have got all this going on. In 6 to 7 months, they've had all of their baby teeth, they've shed them all, and their big teeth have come through by the time they're 6 to 7 months. So they kind of ballpark figures. Some dogs are a little bit sooner, some dogs are a little bit later, but that's basically it. So they've got 10 more than us, and they come through in a very, very short period of time. So you can imagine all that pain and all that moving, their jaws are moving. You know, if you look at a puppy, they're quite flat-faced, but by the time they're grown, their muzzle has really extended. So it's massive, you know, all these changes are going on, these bones are growing and their faces are changing, the muscles are changing, everything is happening at this time, and it's really, really hard. So we have to, excuse me, we have to cut our puppies a bit of slack, really, because they are getting a lot of pain. However, that doesn't stop them from being a pain in the backside. Most people think that their puppies are worse in their biting period between 12 to 16 weeks, which is really when, let's say, a lot of their teething is going on. And it, you know, I've compared children to puppies, haven't I? But children don't generally bite us. puppies generally do. So it's not much of a surprise, is it? That's probably why you're here and looking at this, because you've got an issue with it. So you're not alone. It is a perfectly natural thing. And there are things that we can do and things that we try to avoid doing while puppies are doing this. So as I say, the main part of their teething is usually between 12 to 16 weeks. And when I've got puppies in puppy class, everybody normally comes in and goes, oh, it's been awful, they've had a terrible week, they've been doing this and this and this and this, look at my bruises, look at my piercings, I've got no clothes left. And then suddenly they go, oh, it's a lot better now. Is yours better? Is yours? Oh, yeah, mine's much better. Yeah, mine's much better. And suddenly it kind of evens out and it goes away because the pain is stopping and the teeth are erupting. But really, until that's happening, you know, we just have to kind of do certain things. Now, between 12 to 16 weeks, not only are their teeth erupting, but they're also experiencing their little hormonal changes. They really love hormones. And they're becoming less fearful in the world. So that's the point where they want to go out and investigate things. They're a little bit, I want to do this now because that's over there and I want to go and do it. So they're wanting to go and investigate. They're being a little bit braver. They're wanting to get away from you a little bit. They're wanting to go and look and see what's going on. But it's also the time when a lot of their teeth are coming through. Now, because suddenly they can be a little bit frustrated when we try and stop them from doing things, or they can become frustrated because there's things they want and they want them now. People can misconstrue that a little bit and say, oh, my puppy's becoming very dominant or my puppy's becoming very aggressive. Please, they're not. They're just puppies. They can be a pain in the backside, absolutely. And you know, you'll never get to watch a television programme for the next 6 weeks. And every time you're on the phone, they'll be chewing your trouser leg and things like that. That is part of puppyhood. And when you've had an old dog and you've suddenly got a puppy, you are really not ready for that shock to the system when you've got your lovely old dog who's everything you want and lays calmly and doesn't chew and doesn't do any of those things. But really, for puppies, it is a perfectly normal part of their growing up when they do that funny kind of bouncing at you and trying to get you and they want to play bite. So there are things that we can do, especially if you've got children in the house. My recommendation would be, don't allow them to mouth your hands or your skin at all. Because how does puppy know how hard they can do it before actually you don't want them to do it anymore? So if you're putting your hand in your puppy's mouth and letting it, you know, and then suddenly puppy takes an extra bite and you don't like that anymore, that's a bit inconsistent for your puppy. So ideally keep skin and puppy's teeth well apart, and then you don't have to worry about whether it's acceptable or whether it's not. And I say particularly if you've got children, because you know, children will find the pain threshold is a lot lower than yours, and you don't really want your children being upset by your puppy, or vice versa. So things you can do to kind of manage the situation are, you can have an area where your puppy is safe, out of the way of everybody. So if they're getting a bit overcooked, just like with children, you know, they get past their best, don't they? And they need to go and have a rest. And you can put your children to bed and go, right, go to bed. But puppies don't kind of get that. So if you've got a little area where you can put your puppy in a room with a puppy pen or a big crate, or, you know, in a little room, we don't want to put them out of the way. We're not isolating them in any way. We're not telling them off. We're just giving them space where actually it's less distractions for them and they can switch off a little bit. So a bit like us when we need to go and have a hot bath and get out of the way of everybody. We want to give our puppy that little situation where they can go, okay, I don't need to get so fractious. So if you've got somewhere like that, if you've got somewhere you can put puppy that is safe for them, out of the way, and their own little space where children and adults can't get to them, then that's lovely, because that gives them a little bit of downtime, doesn't it? Sorry, I just shook you up then, didn't I? If you can, in your little puppy area, if it's big enough, you know, give them a nice comfy bed. Give them somewhere where they can actually chill and relax. They won't want to lay on the hard floor, unless they're collies, and they probably will. So try that. Make sure they've got a drink. If it's somewhere where you're going to put them to stay for half an hour or so, make sure, especially if they've been running around like hooligans and got overexcited, make sure they've got a drink. Give them something in there that they can chew on. And we can give chews that they can eat or chews that are toys, and both are good. And at different stages in your puppy's development, they might want different textures because different teeth are coming through and they're feeling a bit different about chewing. But chewing for dogs is really a nice thing to do. It's really reinforcing. It gives them a really nice kick of endorphins and settles them. So there are lots of things we can do to give puppies setting experiences, and chewing is one of them. So chewing is kind of on the list. It's great. Licking is on the list for getting puppies settled, and again, it's using their mouth, so it's a nice way for them to experience things. If you can smear food, if your puppy's got soft food, smear it onto your fridge door if you like. I use those plastic Polly Pockets and stick those up on things so the dogs can lick them. A plastic tray, a chopping board, anything like that, smear food on, put it on the floor, dogs can lick those. You can buy Gucci lick mats, but you don't need to spend a lot of money on stuff. Old margarine tubs and things like that I use as well, just smear stuff in that so they can get inside and give it a good old lick. And scatter their food, so if they're on puppy kibble, you can scatter that on the floor in their little enclosure, and then they get to use their noses, wear themselves out, chew on the food nice and slowly because they pick a piece up each time, and again they're getting that chewing experience. So that's all really nice. You can do those kind of things. You can put toys in there for them that are nice to chew. Even things like a rolled up tea towel that you've dipped in some chicken stock or beef stock or a bit of smelly fish stock or smeared with a bit of yogurt and then put it in the freezer. And that's great because again that's cold. When you bring it out of the freezer, it lasts quite a long time. It's really cheap because when they finish chewing on it, you untie it, stick it in the washing machine and get it out again the next day. So those are really good. You don't need to spend a massive fortune on dog toys, particularly puppy toys, because they are probably going to shred them anyway. A pair of old jeans. I know, Laura, you use old jeans, don't you, for your dog? And they're really good for making tuggy toys with. Things like that are fabulous. Ice cubes. And again, if your dog's got wet food, you could freeze it in little ice cube trays and give it to them like that so they can crunch that up. Chicken wings, I'll start to give my puppies chicken wings as long as I'm holding the end of it. Again, they're learning to do that, which is really nice. Beef trachea, rabbit ears, cow hooves, all those things are really nice. I do have a link for a very nice supplier of such things if you're interested in those. All quite nicely packaged, low yeah, good for the environment packaging. She sources them well, so they're really nice. Other things, obviously, you can buy toys from the pet shop that are chewable. Different textures are great because then puppies have got different things to chew at different times. Now, if you're going to use things like Kongs, stuffed Kongs, these things, she says, always got one on the kitchen table, who hasn't? So you can stuff these with food, smear it round. You can just use their normal puppy food. If you make it into a paste, it probably take a few hours to soak, and then poke it in and then give it to them. Then they'll spend a long time licking the food out of there. You can put more expensive things in, bits of peanut butter, cheese, things like that. Again, in the summer I'll freeze them with water in and put 1 cube of cheese in the middle, so they're just licking at the ice. Those are great. Freeze them, they go in the dishwasher as well. Just make sure you've got the appropriate size for your puppy. This one's a smallish one, so this is, I don't give these to anything really bigger than a small spaniel. Then they get bigger size, so they can't actually hold them. But they're very robust, they're pretty good. So where have I got to? If you've got things like that, if you've got these things, you could tie a piece of string or an old cable is quite good, like these things, you know, your cables once they've gone a bit manky, because then dogs can't chew through. A bit of washing line that's got a wire through it, they're quite nice. So that just stops puppy chewing through them. Tie that, put the string through it, put the stuff in it, and then tie it at the back edge of the confinement space that you've given your dog. So it can have it as, it can be in a crate or in, say, in their puppy area, tie it to a chair leg, somewhere where your dog can be and choose to be and have a good chew. And ideally somewhere that hasn't got other things around that your dog cannot have access to for chewing. So all their legal things. The reason I use them as tied out is then my dog can choose whether to go and chew that or come and sit with me calmly. And quite often puppies will choose chewing, so we'll go back to that. If you're really stuck and you can't move things out of puppy's way, there are other things we can do. But ideally, manage the situation as much as possible by moving things you don't want them to chew. or move puppy into a safe area, a nice big playpen, say, or a big crate, or the other side of the room with tie-out toys. Make sure they've got a nice comfy bed in there, make sure they've got something they can chew on, and make sure their distraction level is fairly low in terms of people going in and interfering with them. If you do get real issues, obviously give me a shout, but really cut them some slack. They are going to bite you. Keep your skin out of the way and try and manage it as best as possible. It will pass. It will pass. But they can be a bit mental. If you do get stuck with it, say, send me videos. Just message me and say, I need to send you this video because I'm not sure if this is normal. And I'll send you back a little reply. All right, my lovelies. Hope that makes some sense to you. Good luck with it all. Send me puppy pictures anyway, because I like to see them. If you're not on the 5-day challenge, then look above here. I think somewhere on the top of this post is a link to the 5-day challenge, which is free, started this morning, and is looking at getting focused with our dogs. There's all sorts of games coming along. Lovely to see you all. Bye bye.